a council that gives guidelines, then the governors can now do all those that they can resolve the matter. The court will normally allow them to go and
about if a worker, if several workers are doing work of equal value, then they must be remunerated, they must be given the same salary, equal pay for equal work done. It is in the Employment Act, and it's there we can provide. And SRC, as a principle, also has the mandate to ensure that there is equity in service. But then, by themselves also giving a nod to these contracts within the health sector, they are also propagating discrimination and inequity within the service.
I wanted us to limit ourselves to the issues which you've raised, which your chairman has raised, SG has raised, so that, we give others to respond. Can you conclude?
Yes, Chair, I'm concluding. Yeah, on the issue of the career progression guideline, I think we accept, and we really hope that this is going to materialize, that we get the approval next week. But now, when it comes to the UHC and in regards to the Public Service Commission, there are questions that need clarification. Number one, now that we have already extended once for 1 year, is it allowed within the law for us to be able to extend beyond once? Because if we extend,
I think the issue about the UHC workers has been handled by the committee. We don't need to go back to there.
Okay.
We've agreed on a way forward on that.
Yeah, Chair, maybe as I conclude, let me say that this is an issue that was also discussed by the Senate Labour Committee. There is a report that gave recommendations, among them equal pay with the others, and also for the absorption. And that report is also annexed to our document. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to give opportunity to two honorable members, two senators who have joined us. Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you, Chairman. Senator Sifuna, Senator Nairobi County, and a friend of the committee.
Thank you, Chair. Cherargei Kiprotich, Senator Nandi County, and a friend of this committee.
Thank you, Senators. Kenya Medical Laboratory and Unions. I think your issue was that Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers to engage respective counties for purposes of entering into recognition agreement. Where are we?
Thank you, Chair. Once again, let me introduce myself. I'm Pius Nyakundi, the National Secretary General for the Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers. To respond to what the Chair of Governors has said on the recognition agreement. One, the union was registered in 2018, and we formally made a request for signing of the recognition agreement to both levels of government. So as to the Chair of Governors, they did a letter on 6th of November 2020, directing the union to engage individual counties for the recognition agreement signing. Since they could not be able to do it as a Chair of Governors, we presented our documents to individual counties, and to date, we have only had 6 counties that have signed the recognition agreement. That is the county government of Nyandarua, Embu, Bungoma, Kajiado, Homa Bay, and Isiolo. On the position of the union being on strike without the recognition agreement, I would like to respond as follows. In accordance to Article 41, every worker has a right to go on strike, and the issue of recognition agreement does not deter us from going into strike, because the purpose of the recognition agreement signing is to engage the employer in a collective bargaining agreement. As our colleagues from other unions are engaging the employer in signing a collective bargaining agreement, we, the laboratory workers, we don't have a recognition agreement. So one of the issues we raised in the strike notice was that the government, the Minister of Health, and quite a good number of counties have not signed the recognition agreement. So we raised a lot of issues that touches the counties. I don't know whether the chair will be able to allow me to go through the document, our strike notice.
You know, the first thing is, the first hurdle for us to go is whether there is recognition in terms of the strike notice that you've given as a union. You know, you've said every worker has a right to go on strike.
Yes.
But that strike that you are in was called by a union.
Yes, yes.
Which does not have recognition agreement
Yes.
with the others. Maybe I'll seek legal guidance from Chair. You know, you are a lawyer, so you can guide us on that.
Can you repeat here? We are immense on what is happening at the floor National Assembly. Sorry for that. Can you repeat?
You are following Linduri's issue.
Yes, my apologies. Can you repeat?
My legal counsel, where are you? Yes. Pardon? In a few minutes.
Chair, on the aspect of maybe Article 41 on right of, which is the Constitution of Kenya 2010, every employee has a right to go to take industrial action. It is a constitutional issue. The only aspect is if there is a court order or such aspects that can negate. But that is a higher threshold, considering that it's a constitutional authority. And you know the interpretation of Bill of Rights, Chair, which is the labor right under Article 41, is it cannot be taken away. So it is an inherent right that is provided for by the Constitution, unless you interpret purposively the Constitution in itself. But it is an inherent right that cannot be taken away as per the interpretation on the Bill of Rights. I submit, Chair.
Legal counsel, are you ready? Not yet. Yes, Governor Midomi Njuki.
You know, Chair, there's a reason why not everybody can just walk into Parliament and sit down. I hear you call them strangers. Because, Chair, if we don't have a recognized recognition agreement as Council of Governors, on what basis do we engage the Kenya Laboratory Union? Because we do not have a recognition. That is where we say it, that let us deal with the ones that we have recognition agreement with. Then as they initiate, if we have a court order to do that, then that will be compelling. But they cannot go on strike and direct to the Council of Governors if we don't have a recognition agreement.
Labor, Minister of Labor, please give us some guidance on that.
The Labor Commissioner.
Labor Commissioner.
Yes, Chair. As per the document that we have presented to the committee, page 7. On page 7, there are 4 unions that do not have recognition agreements, one of them being the Kenya National Union of Medical Laboratory Officers, Kenya Union of Pharmaceutical Technologies, Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union, and the Kenya Union of Nutritionists. And our submission, Chair, the 4 have also issued strike notices, and conciliators have been appointed to deal with the matter following the notices. As to whether they are deserving of recognition shall be determined during the conciliation. But before the strike notices, the 4 unions had not reported any dispute of recognition to the Ministry of Labour.
Chair, on a point of order, yes. So on the issue of laboratory workers, if I got my brother Nyakundi very well, so you don't have a recognition agreement, or what was the process?
Through the chair?
Yes, through the chair, sorry, through the chair.
one of the issues of the strike notice that we issued is that both levels of government refused to sign a recognition agreement with the union. And in this case, we are saying that we requested this recognition agreement in 2020. To date, apart from the 6 counties that have said, the rest have not signed the recognition agreement, including the Ministry of Health. Under Article 54(1) of the Labour Relations Act provides that an employer shall...
You know, the Labour people have just given an advisory opinion. I don't know whether you listened to it.
I was responding to...
have you listened to what the Labour Union, the Labour...
Yes, I listened, Chair.
Have said. And that's what we are trying to find out how to deal with you, because in view of what the advisory opinion from the Labour Minister, Labour Commissioner, one, you've not recorded your dispute. It's not recorded. Yeah. So I'm finding it difficult to admit your submissions. We want to, that's why we are seeking some legal opinion on how to go about it. Just hold on.
Chair, I know Chair can listen as he consoles. My only concern, Ministry of Labour through the Chair, these gentlemen are saying from 2020, they have been requesting for a recognition agreement. How long should it take? Should it take until Jesus comes back? Or how long should it take for the recognition by the... Dr. Sakini is... I like maintaining eye contact with the witness. My apologies, Dr. Sakini. What I'm just asking, the Ministry of Labour, they are saying from 2020, they are requesting to have recognition agreement. How long should it take to have one? Or the Ministry of Labour was on recess for some time?
Chair. Chair,
I want us to, Senator Gerard Gay. You know, we want to help this.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying. Maybe you can get that through the Chair.
Yes.
Then it becomes easy. If it is 6
because for one, they need first recognition agreement.
Within which period? That is important.
And that's what we need to. You have to have a recognition agreement. That's how we want to help you, so that you can be able to register your dispute. Because without a recognition agreement, you cannot go and register your dispute.
But Chair, I think through with your indulgence, why don't the Ministry of Labour answer?
Okay, Ministry of Labour.
How long should it take?
How long
it's a simple question.
Chair, what is the process for them to have their recognition agreement, and how long will it take? Because
the process is, once the union recruits members from an enterprise or from an employer, they must recruit 50 plus 1% to be able to be recognized by that particular employer. Now, if the process is not progressing, if the employer, for example, does not want to recognize them, then a dispute is reported to the Minister for Labour. The Minister for Labour shall appoint a conciliator who will determine whether or not that particular union has to be given that recognition. That has not been done, Chair.
SG?
Yes. Chair, just what is the purpose of an agreement? Is it, I'm being relayed, is it so that they can remit salaries? Is it so that they can participate in the labor, in the union activities? Because there has to be a purpose for which it is being done. Because otherwise, you can have employers forever refusing, and then the members have no recourse.
Yeah, Chair. If I'm allowed to respond,
point
Chair?
of order.
If I'm allowed to respond, Chair.
Let's allow the Labour to respond, and then Kaiga, we shall take your point of order.
The purpose of a recognition is to enable that particular union to represent their workers at that workplace. And then number 2, it is for them to negotiate better terms of employment for their workers. That means putting in place a collective bargaining agreement, like KMPDU. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Before I allow Governor Kaiga, Senator Gerard Gay, hold your horses.
Yes. I'm right.
Before I allow Senator Kaiga and Gerard Gay to respond, let me make the following ruling. That the union of laboratory technicians are not strangers to this meeting. They are here on invitation of the committee, so we can proceed with that.
Thank you, Chair.
Even make other interventions. Senator Governor Kaiga.
Thank you, Chair. Allow me to just mention that the framers of the Constitution were clear on what they wanted. Workers can be represented by as many unions as possible, as you have seen with the teachers. There are those that are represented by KUPPET, by NAT, others by the KUNAP. There are a number of them. And therefore, why a recognition agreement is required by an employer